Me about a time someone talked about you in another language and you showed them that you understood them in that language. As always, I'll go first. I was in Budapest in some cafe, and me and my American friends, we were laughing, having a good time. They were asking me what things on the menu are. I was telling them, but some dudes up front talking about how we're just stupid American girls. So I didn't say anything. I just casually went up and placed 5 orders in Hungarian in front of them. Tell me about a time someone talked about you in another language and you showed them that you understood them in that language.
Okay, so basically, I work in a restaurant, and someone else in the restaurant took an order for one of my tables while I was on my lunch break. And I came back from my lunch break, and there was a drinks order set to go up to that table. I brought the drinks up to the table, and the lady at the table was like, "Those aren't our drinks," and she started getting really angry about it. Her boyfriend, on the other hand, was like really friendly, actually kind of overly friendly with it. He was really nice, but he was overly friendly with me. She was getting really angry though. So I went back down to the bar and I was like, "What happened here?" It turns out the person that was covering my table when I was on my lunch break got the 2 tables next to each other mixed up, so that she put the drinks orders on the wrong tables. Simple mistake, can be fixed easily. I went back up, explained the situation, and apologised to the lady, and she was still angry. Her boyfriend was still being really nice. Basically, she turned to her friend and said "Que marican," which basically means "what a faggot." I turned back around and said "Perra te estarre," which basically means "bitch, I'll fucking drag you." And yeah, that's my experience with meeting Camila Cabello, so...
About you in another language and you showed them that you understood them in that language.
So we were in Paris, and a lot of people in Paris speak Arabic. We were in Zara, and this mother was shopping for her daughter, but her daughter wasn't with her. Her daughter was on FaceTime. She was walking around the shop with the phone saying, "Do you like this? Do you like this?" She was speaking Arabic to her daughter on FaceTime, and I obviously understood it. I was lining up in the change rooms, and she started walking towards me, and she was telling her daughter, like in Arabic, that there's a girl that's the same height, like I'm going to get her to try on the clothes for you. She asked me to try on the clothes, and I was like, "Yeah, all right, whatever." Mind you, it was 40 degrees, and we were on a Kentucky tour, and we're already so late for everything. Like, I don't have enough time to do anything, but I was like, all right, let's be nice and try on the clothes for her. Anyway, I came out of the change room in the dress to show her daughter on FaceTime, and they're speaking in Arabic saying like, it looks good, and the mom's like, yeah, she's the same height as you, but she's just fat. And I was like, and she said in Arabic, she literally called me fat to my face with no hesitation that I could possibly understand the language. I was like, sorry, I'm on holidays, I've gained a few kilos. She didn't even say sorry.
Little story time about the day that I caught somebody talking about me in a different language and them not knowing that I understood everything, and then me letting them know that I understood. So I'm standing at Forever 21, and we're standing in line, and I'm standing there with my grandmother and my mom, and they're blonde, blue-eyed, fair-skinned, American-looking women, and they're talking to each other, and I'm standing behind them, minding my own business, holding my little Forever 21 clothes. Behind me, there's this Latin couple, and the lady starts running her mouth about las dos gringas pendejas de enfrente, which I know she's not talking about me, so I automatically understand that she's talking about my grandmother and my mom, right? So I'm annoyed, so I turn around and I look at her, but I guess she didn't really understand that we were a party. I guess she just thought that I knew Spanish and I had understood what she said, so she kept running her mouth. I nudge my mom, and I'm like, this bitch is talking about you. Okay, so I nudge my mom, so she starts listening, and she starts hearing what this lady has to say. And I'm just staring there, and I'm just like, I'm waiting, because I know my mom's temper, and I know she's not going to hold it together. So I'm just like, oh, you have no idea what you just messed with, right? I'm waiting for that moment. And then my mom turns around, looks this lady dead in the eye, like straight, I will never forget this, looks her straight in the eye at the Forever 21 line, and says, "Gringa pendeja quién?" Which translates to stupid, dumbass American bitch who, like, in her face. And this lady turns white, like Forever 21 white. And she has no idea what the fuck just happened. And I'm loving every second of it, because I'm like, yeah, now you have 2 Latinas in your face, bitch. And my grandma, like, this whole time, my grandmother is just, like, going through the little stuff that's, like, in the aisles, in the line, like...
About you in another language and you showed them that you understood them in that language.
My background, I am Thai, so when I was abroad, I went to this Thai restaurant. A really good friend of mine brought me there, and she was like, "Oh, the food here is really good, and you're Thai, so you must like it." So I sat down, and the servers were staring at me. But my table was so close to their counter, so I could literally hear what they were talking. And they were basically saying something like, "Uy, คนนี้น่ารักเนอะแต่ตัวเตี้ยมากเลยอะมากับผู้หญิงด้วยผู้หญิงสูงกว่าอีกโอ้ตอนเด็กๆกินนมไม่พอแน่ๆเลย." Obviously, they didn't think I was Thai, so when they approached my table, they were speaking to me in English, and I just replied back, เอาคั่วกลิ้งไก่ครับแล้วก็ตอนเด็กๆผมกินนมนะครับแต่พ่อแม่ผมไม่สูงครับผมเลยไม่สูง And then they were just like, Because they know their tips weren't gonna be great on my table. Yeah, so mind your damn business. I want to be taller, but this is all I got, you know.
Time someone talked about you in another language and you showed them that you understood them in that language.
Okay, so it's summer 2018. I had just gotten back from a year abroad in Germany, and my Romanian friends from Romania came to Chicago where I live, and they wanted to visit, and they were also working there in the summer, some of them. So, I was like, yo, like, we should go downtown and get some food at Giordano's because they had never been. And I took them, and the people at the podium who were seating people are Hispanic. And so they're talking and talking, and then they say, okay, we have a table for you. Like, how many people are going to be sitting and eating and needing menus? I did not get a menu because I don't eat dairy. I'm allergic to it. I told them that. And then they literally looked at each other and said in Spanish, why is this dumbass here if he's not going to eat anything? And they started laughing at me, and then I literally laughed with them, and they were like,
About you in another language and you showed them that you understood them in that language.
So one day I went shopping with my uni friends and I was just buying some groceries, some small stuff, nothing too big. My friends were walking so slow and I was just ahead of them. I started walking hella fast. So as I was walking to the queue, I saw these two friends and I think they were East Asian. So as I was walking to the queue, one of the friends was walking slower than me. So she ended up behind me and her guy friend was in front of me. So we're standing in the queue now and I realized I'm in between them. So my friends are behind her, she's behind me, I'm behind him. So it's just a weird order. And at this point, they're talking in their language. And I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. I'm like, they're just talking about what they want to talk about. Let them do them, you know? But then they're talking across me. And this was pre-corona time, so I wasn't concerned about that. Then I'm like, you know what? It doesn't matter. I'm going to let her in front of me so she can talk to her friends and I can be with my friends. Then I turn around and let her walk in front of me. So I turn around and like gesture and tell the lady, like, you can go in front of me. She looks at me so shocked and she's like, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to say that. I'm so sorry. I apologize. I was like, what? I had faith in you! And bearing in mind, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what she said about me. I couldn't speak her language. But she must have thought I understood her and like what she was saying was to do with me being in front of her. So then my face was like... Because I'm like confused, but then I'm still like angry, like, why are you talking bad about me? But yeah, she went in front of me and then I was with my friends. I'm like, damn. So my tip is, if you want to see if someone's talking about you, turn around, kind of act confused and a bit outraged, and if they react with like apologies, then you know they were talking about you.